friends, I'm up here getting ready for my day as I do, and a thought came to mind about ways that I'm kind of like adjusting my makeup routine. You could say for the holidays. I think some of these really shift nicely into the holiday season, but also just in general, like maybe my tastes have changed a little bit lately, and it's not necessarily all about specific products, but maybe just a little different way of using them or a slightly different look that I'm going for. Okay, I'm gonna fill you in on those today, and I do have my face partially done right now. It'd be kind of nice to roll out of bed with skin looking this even though. I'm shooting this on Tuesday. It's the kids' last day before they let out for Thanksgiving break, and the kindergartners do some sort of a little like Thanksgiving play or like some Thanksgiving songs basically. I'm not sure how much has changed since Biddy was in there, but we're gonna go see that today. I've got my Catrice Glam and Gold primer. This is just a nice basic hydrating type of primer, so on top of all my skincare I put that, and then I used Catrice HD liquid coverage today in sand beige. Beautiful, thin, but really effective, like full coverage foundation basically. Bringing in my Revlon Color Stay Flex Wear Concealer. This is in the shade Vanilla, I believe. Yeah, I love the coverage of this. I love the way this wears. I remember really getting into this one, was it about a year ago at this time? It's beautiful. One of my absolute faves in my collection. Then I swear guys, the grandma video did something to me. I'm on the Airspun powder setting my under eye and T-zone. It's true that it continues to look like a little more fresh, a little more lived in on the skin with just a few hours of wear. It's kind of crazy, but I would say it still looks great right now. And then I use my Maybelline Super Stay Hybrid Powder Foundation lightly all over the rest of my face to set, but this isn't a real tacky dewy thing to have to set. And then I dipped into my M Cosmetics stick again. This is the So Soft Contour Stick in Terra. Really perfect shade. You know, you can see that coolness of tone, but yet it blends in. It just looks really perfect wherever you put it. I feel like this was kind of the original standard that I had for a beautifully textured cream product that's easy to blend on the skin and easy to just put on. And then Persona quickly jumped into that conversation as well, and there are so many good ones truly, but this is kind of the original for me. I topped with a little bit of Maybelline City Bronzer. This shade 300 is a really nice kind of sunny shade for me, so when I add that in as bronzer, I feel like I get a really pretty, like genuinely little bit more tan look. And then that brings me into the first thing I wanted to mention, which is prepping my lips. I so often, lately especially, have been forgetting to cater to my lips as part of my morning skincare. You know, I'm up here, I'm doing all this stuff on the skin, and I'm never stopping to put a balm on. And what do I have over here? I've got like several lip sleeping masks. I've got a whole like shallow drawer of balm-like products. You know, I got the stuff, why don't I use it? So I'm using it. Today I used the Laneige Mini Lip Sleeping Mask. This is in the chocolate scent. Not all that long ago, I had gotten this in a duo from Sephora, and it came with one of their like glowy lip balms in the squeeze tube, the vanilla. And I love that chocolate scent. 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna love a chocolatey scent in makeup, and that one's so good, so I've got that on my lips already. Another thing that I'm gonna kind of make it my mission to explore more as a result of the grandma video I did is lipstick as blush, and just seeing how easy that was and how beautiful it was when I used that super bright red shade, the Love That Red color from Revlon Super Lustrous. Like, I couldn't get over the ease of blending on my cheeks and the beautiful coordination between cheeks and lips. It made me think about all kinds of other shades I'd like to wear that way. And my friend David, who's the resident Estee Lauder makeup artist at Bergdorf Goodman in New York, he was saying how anyone looking for cream blush, he mentions how there's loads of options because the lipsticks can do it too. So just thinking about Revlon, I got a lot of lipsticks, but just thinking of the Revlon Super Lustrous formula, because it really does help if it's a nice classic cream to do this with. I was just looking through reds and berries today and picked out a few that I thought would be so pretty like this. One that I might work into my look today, it's another red, but it's called Uncut Ruby. Definitely a little more depth in it compared to Love That Red, which is a very bright red. So that's what I was thinking of. Cherries in the Snow. A lot of you mentioned this also in the comments section of my grandma video saying, oh, grandma loved cherries in the snow. This one's like a really pretty hot pink, you know? Is there some red in it? Yes, but it's got that kind of pinky punch. It looks so pretty. Also black cherry. Oh my gosh, I love black cherry, especially this time of year. We're looking at that super rich berry. How fun would that be to try a little bit on the cheeks? What in the world? A little Christmas tree I had by the door just got knocked down. It's like I'm sitting here calmly doing a makeup video and cats are just bolting, racing and chasing. But I mentioned black cherry. After realizing how much I love doing this, that was one of the first ones that came to mind, like, oh, I gotta try that one. I've got Raisin Rage. Look at that one. Looking a little bit toastier. Yes, bringing in some berry, but actually bringing in some warmth too. And then this is one of the newer ones. Remember when a bunch of newer Revlon shades released? Uncut Ruby was one of them. And this one called Rum Berry. I wanted to see this. I think it's going to be more, yeah, brownish. Okay, so I just feel like any of these intense shades would be so much fun, but like, just, it doesn't blow your mind how well that worked in that video? Has the door been open to you as well for so many ideas in terms of cream blushes that you now have because you didn't always look at your lipsticks that way? But today I really want to try a little bit of black cherry, and then I think I'll top or bring toward the apple of the cheek that Uncut Ruby shade. What is going to work for me is a couple swipes of this on my hand and then a little Sephora 56 action. And then you get that sheer color. We're just gonna stamp it in. It's so much fun to see how these lipsticks truly sheer out on this level. I'm gonna stick on this one cheek. Like, is that not just a beautiful, cool pink is what that amounts to? I mean, think of the range of intensity you have here too. The way you could build that. I did a more minimal amount on my hand than I did in the grandma video, so I'm gonna reapply some there. And the way we're all probably not flying through a lipstick to use it up, I mean, isn't this a great way to get more use out of those lipsticks? I'm obsessed. Has this gone and made my cheeks super tacky or something? It really hasn't, but feel free to go set it with a powder blush if you want to. But we're really shearing it out. That's black cherry, just a hint, you know? If I was using that and that alone, I'd go further and build it even more. But now I want to try some Uncut Ruby. Yes, some red. A few swipes on the hand. Give yourself a little hand palette there. Pick up some with a little blendy brush. Putting it right out here. A little more over here. This formula, it just wants to blend. Have I broken out? Has anything weird happened to my cheeks as a result of using a lipstick there? No. Look at that. Oh, something about the reds. I mean, I felt this way so much in the grandma video, like they look so pretty this way. And then I'm going to try doing like a sheer stained lip. One of the things that I was thinking of actually in terms of the kind of upgrading my routine or changing my routine is lip color fearlessness, honestly. Just because you show up to places where it seems like a lot of people aren't wearing a full-on lipstick, if you like it, it doesn't mean you have to go to that level, you know? I would encourage you to wear a bright, bold lip if that's what you want to do, because you never know who you're inspiring out there. You never know who might see that and come away thinking, oh, I could do that too. I could try that. I like lipstick. I have a lot of lipsticks I haven't been wearing. So lip color fearlessness is something I'm putting out there. To be perfectly honest with you, there'll be some days like I've had a bold lip on, let's say, and then I'm getting ready to go pick up the kids and knowing I'm going to just be standing out there like waiting for them and thinking, is it too much? You know, looking at myself and thinking, are people going to think that's too much? Like, and now I want to just kick myself. Who cares? You know, it's that TikTok that reminds us all that, oh, do you really care what people think? We're just living on this floating rock that's in this massive universe, galaxy. Why are we caring? Do what you want to do, okay? So this is your encouragement there. Speaking that life into myself as well, I'm going to take some Uncut Ruby and I'm going to put it on just like I would. So this was the shade we just sheared out on the cheeks. I feel like this could have been a whole video in itself, like lipsticks that make great blushes. But a cool idea also with your bright lips is turning them into a blotted, stained look. Ooh, that's so pretty. That looks really fresh. And if you're going for hardcore staying power or a really finished bold look, you know, reapply and blot one more time, and you're gonna have some really locked in staying power, but oh, I'm loving that. Go with the red lip. Do it. It's the holidays. Now is the time to have that little like extra courage boost to usher it in and do that red lip. Another sort of makeup routine boost, may or may not be a boost, but recognizing, like really thinking before I throw on a highlighter, not just always making that a default step, because some days I just haven't done it and I've looked at my makeup later in the day and I'm thinking the makeup look pretty good without anything. Look at the natural gleam I have just after putting some lipstick on as blush. Like, why mess with that? And some days you want it. Some days maybe the face really needs it. But just stopping to make that assessment, because maybe it's as I'm getting a little older, some of the really, really shimmery ones I think are not doing me favors with the staying power overall of my look. Some of them are looking a little more sunken into fine lines, exaggerating pores a bit more. It's like, was that even necessary? Like, I could have sidestepped that whole look to my skin late in the day if I would have skipped it, or made maybe a more mindful choice of the one I was going for. And I always try to keep it fairly light with that, but it makes a difference sometimes, like making the choice to just not do that. Here's another thing. I'm going for a more fluffy brow. I can't remember what day it was that I did this. It almost happened by accident. I had filled in my brows, and then when I was going through with the gel, like, I really kind of fluffed it up in here and it made it look thicker, and I thought, gosh, I think you might look like 5 years younger with that strategy. Just something about it added some extra vibrance to my look. I don't know. I'm just using my Benefit Precisely My Brow Pencil today, and at first I'm like going in and just kind of filling in my brows as I usually would, but then I'll kind of be paying a little extra attention to the inner like quarter of the brow. Something about it looks more natural. My brows do have some hairs here, but look, making special effort even just with the pencil, add in a little boost right in there. And then you come in with your gel, and that's going to totally reinforce it with the natural hairs. Also, when you go in and do that step, your spoolie will be making a difference as it comes in, and then you can see the hairs fluffing up with it. I'm just going to do this entire brow start to finish. I'm using Morphe Micro Manager Gripping Brow Gel. I think it was a day I was touching up or something, and I was not touching up with this. I was using Brow Fast Sculpt, and so a little extra product got on the inside, and I was like, wait a minute, that actually looks really good. The whole brow is a little fluffier, and right now it's looking kind of crazy. When it's all said and done, it looks good, especially if it's a day you've put a lash on and you've got that little bit heavier brow. I don't know, I kind of like it. And that's the important thing, doing what you like. You don't need to listen to my whole list of things here and think, okay, that's what I'm gonna like. This is your encouragement to reassess your routine and do the things that you truly love. They may be different from the things I love. That's what makes life fun, is everybody not doing everything the same way. And on the topic of the lip color fearlessness too, I think we all have an assumption in our minds that people care way more than they actually do. You know, like people are paying attention more than they truly are. Truth is, everybody's got their own issues and situations on their mind. And you wearing a brighter than average lipstick, if it does cross their mind, I'm guessing it's not for long. Fluffing. Plus, it's cheery, you know? Nothing against gloomy days. I like a good gloomy day. We've had a lot of them lately, but you can add a little brightness to the day with a brighter lip. Biddy's here. She's up extremely early, allegedly needing to use the bathroom. I love your peach, eh, Biddy? Two other things as far as eyes go. Embracing jewel tones on the eyes. Lips aren't the only vehicle for color. It may or may not be a situation where your lips are bold and then there's also jewel tones on the eyes. Maybe the lip is more muted that day, but the eyes are the star of the show. You decide whatever you think is appropriate. I've never shied away from bold eyes and lips on the same face. Sometimes that just works. But that's just like something generally that I want to keep in the back of my mind, is utilizing those shadows, shadow sticks, liners, things that Yeah, she didn't have toilet paper. I don't know what I was saying. I was talking about the jewel tones and using the things that you have. Not everything has to come back to brown, gold, neutral, whatever. So I'm thinking about the jewel tones on the eyes. And I'm actually really loving creating a true glimmery, glowy sparkle on my lids. I'd gotten that new product from Maybelline that is like a doe foot applicator. It's kind of sparkly. And I'm just kind of realizing that I'm loving that. And dipping into some of my palettes that I have too, like the Sephora Collection palette, and laying into some of those glimmery tones right now. Like, I think that's a real holiday festive idea, but that's captured me right now. So I'm gonna do a little eye look. I think I will go for this palette because it has a lot of glimmery options, because that glimmer doesn't have to come in the form of a liquid. It could be in eyeshadows that you have. So this is Sephora's big holiday palette. Even if I haven't like used it in tons of videos, I've still been using it. I'm gonna start with a little soft brown. I feel like there's just so much stuff to try. A lot of things aren't going to get used repeatedly in a video palette-wise this time of year, but I do love this. I would recommend this. By the way, Catrice's Black Friday sale, check and see if it's still underway. I would think it would be, but it like started on Monday, 30% off site-wide. See, getting that soft crease. I also like this kind of blushy, just really muted blush. Good kind of blending things out. And sometimes do you get the mentality that if you're going to do a glimmering look, then it absolutely has to be like a full glam 100% eye look. And really that feature can come into a fairly simple look, you know? So consider that as well. I'm going to take this plummy one right here. I saw McKenna, her name's McKenna Goddard on TikTok, do a really pretty, cohesive, beautiful, like icy pink makeup look. And it kind of got me thinking, I don't know how great the icy pink is going to look with my outfit. Maybe it won't look too bad with red, but I was just thinking how this palette does have some of those tones going on. But here I am with my Morphe M303 large flat brush, and it really gets a fair amount of color up to the crease as well, just given the shape of the brush. It's got a little bit of fluff. So we're just getting the color on there. It doesn't have to be perfect because you can take another brush. You could either bring your crease brush to just blend that out or a smaller brush to shape a bit more. I'm going to shape, but I'm going to do it with a little bit softer color. I'm going up to this rose right here. This has a huge mirror. This is a heavy palette. If you get this, you're going to be surprised at the weight of it all. And I feel like 90% of that weight is coming from this lid, but that's okay. You know, you want to do something deluxe, Sephora collection, I'm behind you. So I'm like taking that softer pink and just moving it around. It's not looking loudly pink, it's just kind of a rose. But as you blend that in and kind of blend out the darker shade with it, you've got an overall softening happening here. Now, one little adjustment I might make is go back to the deeper color I was using and really on purpose get that outer lid a little bit darker, because then I want something to come in and contrast with that. So we're not saying your look has to be major high contrast. It wouldn't have to be. You could just go sparkle on the lid and call it a day. But I like when that sparkle has something to kind of merge on top of, and that's where we're really building a bit more with that plummy color. And then we've got just some really pretty shiny options here. I'm going to go down to this shade. It looks kind of like rose gold in the palette, and it's kind of acting like rose gold on the lid too. But really glimmery. That's going to be kind of our base thing on the inner lid. And then another's going to come to play that's got even more sparkle pizzazz. I don't know if you can tell how pretty that is. It appears maybe a bit pinky, but it has some major golden sparkle, and it feels kind of dry to the touch, but that's okay. I'm going to tap that on with my finger on the inner part. I think this really is a good palette to maybe not wait till Christmas to get, if you're interested in it. Have it to use during the holiday season because it's so much fun. And see, it doesn't take a lot of precision or anything, but just laying that down there, that looks so good, so festive. Hi, Bisky. And I'm trying it with a brush too, and that can do the job. However, I feel it flaking a bit more around me, and the finger is just a bit more deliberate to place that down. But yeah, I'm embracing sparkly shades, shades that maybe I ignored for a while in certain palettes. I'm gonna really try to work with them more. And I'm gonna finish my eye look and I'll be back. Alrighty friends, so I finished my eye. I kept this a pretty upper eye focused look. I used my little Profusion Seamless Strokes Precision Gel Liner. This is in the dark roast shade, so it's a super dark brown, and I went probably 3/4 of the way in with that. It's very slim, so it's super easy to like do a partial line, and it doesn't look like there's a big jump off because it's already just so close into the lash line. So I did that on top. I did nothing added on the bottom except just mascara. I used my Too Faced Ribbon Wrapped. I feel like this one might be on its last legs, so I went ahead and used that on upper and lower lashes, and of course the lip was already on. And yeah, I'm ready for my day. I feel kind of like in the holiday festive spirit. Those are just some ways like I'm seeking out to adjust my makeup routine, and if you ever feel like you're in a rut or you feel like there's a lot of products you're not using, you know, just think about what you want, what you like, and maybe what you can lean into for a specific season. That can give you the ideas to get you going, you know? The sparkle or jewel tones or feeling more confident in brighter lip colors. It's a time of year to get into that. And the last thing I was thinking of too is just my commitment to keeping my nails done. I love this mauve shade that I've got on here right now. It's another LA Colors gel polish. I got it with my grocery order. It's like my little treat to myself, my $1 and change treat. This shade, I think it's called Lingerie. It's just a really classic mauve. I had one of those sheer nail veil things on, and then I just thought I'll throw this on top, and my nails feel super hard and just good with this on the top of it. And that's just one coat too, so that's nice. But thank you guys so much for watching. I truly appreciate you and your time, the time you spend not only to watch my videos, but to throw a comment in there. Oh, here's Bisky coming in. The ways we all interact as a community, I'm very grateful for that, and I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving and just soak up this special time, not get too consumed with stresses that may surround it, but really focusing on the thankful side of things. Bisky says bye, happy Thanksgiving, I love you.